Hello and welcome to AWS Made Easy. This is the show where we talk about all things AWS, cost optimization, AI, and one of the best things we get to do is interview folks from AWS and the AWS community. Today we have Giuseppe Battista. My name is Stephen Barr.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rahul Subramaniam. And Giuseppe, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. We couldn't be more excited. Uh,
Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
yeah, so why don't we kick this off with a little introduction about yourself? Tell us what you do at AWS, your journey into AWS, and how you've got into this role.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, thank you so much for having me. I've been a huge fan of AWS Made Easy, at least until 2000 and I think 22, when I discovered you. And yeah, I'm super excited. I cannot be more excited to be around here. To answer your question, so I am a senior solutions architect at AWS, and I focus exclusively on early stage startups in UK and Ireland. I lead solutions architecture for promising startups here in the UK, and all of these startups are potentially pre-Series A. They're maybe still stealth. So we curate our relationship with VCs, for example, or we just go out and about into fundraising events, and we try to scout them before they become the unicorns then they are bound to be. And I think this is the best job at AWS because I get to see, the next unicorns. I get to work with them, and also I get to live the life of a startup, but from a more couchy, cushy position. I've been a founder in the past. It's been a hectic ride, I would say. It's been fun, but now I am enjoying it from a more of a retired position from that scene, but looking from the I don't know, behind the scenes. And
So you're saying you get to be on the roller coaster, but you know that you'll get paid next week.
yes, exactly. That's exactly it, right? So I don't want to go back there, but no, absolutely. And we have a lot of programs for startups and how to help them. We have an abundant amount of credits, but also a lot of programs that help them, becoming I would say profitable. They can prove their business plan. They can prove that their business is actually working, and then we start these business relationships early in the day. We help them grow and thrive on AWS, and honestly, I couldn't be more in a better position to witness the changes in the technological landscape and being as close to innovation as possible as this position. So yeah,
That's pretty
uh,
awesome.
yeah, that's
Before
what
we
I
jump
do.
into before we jump into the technical stuff, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the AWS support system that you have for startups? Now you kind of just laid it out at a high level, but are there
Yeah.
very specific programs that say startups can approach AWS to kind of get support, get help, and which are the specific programs? How should a startup go about engaging with AWS on these things?
Of course. So if you're a startup and you have your business idea, if there's one thing that I want you to get out of this, go to startups.aws, and that's basically the hub where you can find guidance, you can find credits, you can find other startups that are part of this journey as well. We do have a place called Startup Showcase where you can build your own marketing page there, and we love gathering startups that are building on AWS, and that's I would say the entry point for the engagement with AWS. I think the most valuable thing that you can do is apply for AWS Activate credits. So Activate credits, we have $1,000 up for grabs for any founder. You just need to have a company incorporated. It has to be younger than 10 years and no questions asked. $1,000 is there. And I think that that's great to maybe start building your small prototype. As you know, AWS also has a very generous free tier. My first startup I built it on the AWS free tier. I was building only on top of Lambda, Dynamo, and a couple of AWS instances that I could get for free, or even RDS. So we proved the concept, and then we were ready to go to investors and say, hey, this actually works, and we didn't spend a penny on AWS. Even, for example, CloudFront was a huge ally of ours, because 1 terabyte of free data out every month. Sign me in, or sign me up. So that was the first. Then you can get like the first package of $1,000 if you're like afraid of like bleeding out of the free tier. But then we have other programs that can get you up to $100,000 if you're accelerated by VCs that are credit providers, or even at other like institutions. And for example, there's a program called the NVIDIA Inception program that also it's an equity-free program that you can sign up, and they will disburse you credits as you go and as you grow. Because we've seen a lot of there are a lot of marketing claims around and say, hey, we're going to give you $350,000 in credit, just like sign here and you'll be good to go. But often, like, those credits expire really soon. We have seen that a lot of customers of ours never even get to that point. And when they actually need it, the stream is ended before you actually realize it. And so, so these are like the kind of things that we want to do to help and getting your runway as long as possible. And at the end of the day, we are there to help support startup. We don't, if your startup is successful, then AWS is going to be successful, and that's when we are going to have a business relationship that is transcends the boundaries of like, oh, we are your IT providers. No, that's not. And then we also offer a lot of go-to-market support. And I've helped, I think now 50 or 60 startups actually building their offer onto the AWS marketplace, which is something that really lowers the barriers when it comes to being procured to large enterprise customers. And as well, on startups.aws as well, you will find a lot of events in real life in your region, or even virtual, that we have a show on Twitch as well. It's called Let's Build a Startup. We're working to build the 3rd season of it. So, if you want to chat, you can find us there. But I would say startups.aws is the place to go if you want to learn more about how we support startups.
That's awesome. If you're a customer, please go check it out. If you are a startup that's looking to get, funding, get credits, get support to build out your applications, go check out startups.aws.com. Okay.
I have one question.
Sorry,
I have one before. If you were advising startups, now having been in startups myself, there's two schools of thought on cost optimization, and one of them is be fast and loose, we're going to be the next $1 billion company, and but then the other one is very, very, very careful, but almost to the point where it can slow them down. And how do you what side do you lean on, and how have you seen stories of either one working or not working?
I think so. My first approach is, if you're still pre-series A, if you're even I would say product market fit, then that's when you need to be as frugal as possible. So I think that's when you want to do maybe things that do not scale, and you want to find the frugal approach, or like being as scrappy as possible. And I've seen, I think, hundreds of customers in the last 3 years that I've been chatting to, and actually trying to leverage as much as possible free tiers of almost anything, offers that you get if you are a startup, to actually find product market fit. That's where I think you should try and make the best of your limited resources. But then when when you're actually ready to go to investors, then at that point you should have a business plan that is kind of ruthless, and you will be, I think, able to spend a little bit more money, but that's justified because you want to be the first in the market. You want to be aggressively going after your market segment. So you want to be as close as possible, as much as possible to your customers. So that's when I think you should be really deploying all of the resources that you can get. And this is why, as I was saying before, we tend to encourage our customers to be frugal with credits at the very beginning, but then double down when they are ready to go, because at that point, you will have a lot of momentum, and that kind of fuel will propel you even further.
I think in one particular I'm thinking of that I won't name, but I think that they doubled down too early, which was fun being inside of it, but not fun when all of a sudden we're like, oh boy, we need to pivot and we have a couple weeks left.
Yeah. I think I've seen a few. I will not, of course, say their name in here, but yeah, no, that's definitely something that you want to avoid, especially with the death of Zerp. I think in 2022 we went through a massive churn of funding, and at the moment I think VCs are still sitting on a lot of dry powder, so capital is kind of stuck there, but I mean, VC are definitely becoming more and more frugal, and also the fact that we have introduced some magnificent kind of technology like generative AI. This is pushing founders in being even more frugal. Although they can really get a lot of value and a lot of business outcomes by I think being smart and frugal about how they're using this type of technologies. So yeah,
Sounds
interesting times.
So, talking about product market fit, I assume that right now every startup that's sprouting is working on something AI related. Um, I would think that there are very few exceptions to that rule. So, what's the big buzz in the startup community around AI? What are the kinds of problems that they're looking to solve or technologies that they're looking to leverage?
Okay, so from a technological perspective, the buzzword today is agentic AI, right? So we know it, like we're trying to find. I think we've seen this evolution. In 2022, we've seen, we have chatbots now, and they can manipulate language, and I think that that's kind of the biggest conquest of our tech sector in this. In this decade, I think, we as developers, as engineer, we were actually able to automate all of the things that could have been expressed as a recipe. So the algorithmic side of things, we have learned many different ways, from COBOL to TypeScript. We have learned in many different ways and how to actually do it. But I think that manipulating language has always been an interesting challenge, and now we have the tools for doing that. We are, I think, in the early stages of this. I think we should treat generative AI capabilities a little bit as you would treat like a nuclear reactor. There's a lot of power there, but there's also a lot of things that could go wrong, and so we need a lot of engineering effort and a lot of engineering feats to make sure that we are making the right usage of generative AI. This doesn't mean that it's going to, it's propelling us into a great, automation landscape. And so that was the landscape, I guess, in 2022. Come to today, we've seen customers timidly experimenting with large language models. We've seen a lot of proof of concept throughout 2023. 2024 was a year, I think, of reconnecting with the business needs, and I think 2025 is going to be the year in which we're going to see productionized use cases that are actually delivering on this promise. And I've seen some of my customers are actually doing that. Stephen, I know we spoke about a particular customer of mine who's doing advertising within chatbot, but they are delivering incredible conversion rates because of the fact that their applications can actually understand the context. They are probably one of the first survivors of the cookieless advertising world, and they are emerging as one of the alternatives. And so that's one of the production application that I've seen today that I would say, wow, if I wasn't their solution architect, I would probably try to give them a seed or something like that.
So this is
Invest
one
with
where
them.
I can be in an AI chat interface, and I'm looking for an answer to a question, and it can figure out, wait, I actually have a partner who is relevant to this answer, and for a certain price, they can inject, hey, you might want to look at this.
Yeah, exactly. And they are able to deploy the message only when they think that you would be they would have high propensity to click on an ad that is part of the actual conversation. So that's how I think they have a great great rate. But anyways, so this is one of the most interesting. Another one that that is really close to my heart, because I think they're doing fantastic work in making sure that music from every venue in the UK and Ireland is uploaded to the cloud, and then made available to hundreds of thousands of people in their audience. Is a startup that I work with. They have some sort of agentic workload, but it's not related directly to the music, but it's actually related to some adjacent marketing use cases. So, for example, matching the venue with the artists and their various Instagram profiles, or Bandcamp profiles, all of these sort of things. And all of this would require, or I would say mindless human work, which is, okay, this is the set list from this venue, and so I'm matching this web page with that other web page, and I'm pulling together a profile for this particular set. I mean, all of this, it's difficult. It was difficult to automate, I think, because they're potentially there are no APIs to consult their the venue set list or something like that. But there are websites that are put together by human beings, and now we can crawl and we can learn from in an automated way. So the engineers can actually focus on what make the product better, and not just spending time and doing laborious tasks that are not adding that much value.
I like that perspective a lot, and I think it brings us into our next kind of general segment, right? So with MCP, A2A, other orchestration protocols, I think the general idea is, okay, we've got this great reasoning tool. We don't know that the previous approach was orchestrated all by hand, and I need to connect this to that, do some logic, and here's my product. But now we're like, let's give this AI all of the data it needs, and then just let it figure out what to do. We just want to tell it the end goal. So let's talk about MCP, about A2A. What was your kind of discovery, or when did you first start using this, and what other applications have you seen?
Yeah. So again, my I would say harshest teachers are my customers, right? Because they want to squeeze every single opinion I have, and sometimes I do not have an opinion, so I have to study really, really hard. So I spent, I think, a couple of months just focusing on doing research on these emerging agentic frameworks. I spent some time having a look at maybe a small agent from Hugging Face, or having a look at Pydantic AI, we also at AWS there's a prototyping team that has given birth to, I think, one of the best orchestrators out there, especially if you're already into AWS, which is now called Agent Squad. And it, for example, it allows you to wrap existing AWS infrastructure with agentic interfaces. And another very interesting bit is, for example, you can wrap with Agent Squad. You can actually wrap existing Lex bots, for example. So you have the flexibility of the an orchestrator and an LLM on one end, and then you have a more conversationally structured, I would say, bot that can operate on reality through some of the APIs. So like that was kind of a kind of interesting. But again, like customers are coming to me and say, hey, what is the best one? What is the best one? And I got tired of telling them, oh, it depends. So I kind of started building a lot of stuff as one would do, and I think that the only one who gave me that aha moment in which I kind of something changed into my perception of the value when we are building software really changed when I started working with MCP, because there was no direct need of starting orchestrating, or like in some of these agentic framework, you create or you have like an orchestrator that is whose goal is to understand the intent of a customer, and then route it to the right agent. For me, like instead of like starting building from the ground up into something that I'm really accustomed to. I'm accustomed in building like self-contained software as tools, as we will see in I think in a sec, and then just providing a list of tools to my LLM, and then the LLM is actually able to get to a complex goal by orchestrating these tools one after the other without any additional guidance from my side. That was like the aha moment in which I like, okay. Plus the fact that it was born as a cross industry kind of protocol that it's set from the beginning with standardization in mind. And I'm thinking of large enterprise customers, or heavily regulated customers like in FSI or in healthcare, having that common ways of orchestrating these tools and defining them. I thought, okay, this is probably a technology into which I want to bet on, because it seems like it simplifies access to tools, it democratizes the access, and there's also a go-to-market promise here. If we are able to nail the way that customers can share tools with each other, then I'm thinking, for example, of what could happen with the AWS marketplace. And I'm not saying I don't know anything about that, right? But I'm thinking, if there's a way to allow customers to build their own MCP tools and servers and share it in a platform that has some sort of like payment or like exchange between them, then that's and all of these tools are potentially like operated by agents, or even any sort of orchestration. I think these three elements kind of clicked in my brain, and like it was like a nudge on the shoulder and say, hey, you should really be focusing onto this, because this is going to be big.
It's really neat to see like the division of what an AI can do and what a person can do. And so I think when our brains were suited to saying, okay, if I have this, 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 and this, and this, then the problem is solvable. But then actually going through the work of connecting all that stuff, it can be kind of boring and tedious. And to tell an AI, okay, you've got this, 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 and this, I want that, go for it. And have it figure it out. That's really cool.
Yeah, actually, just we were demonstrating an example of how we built up a simple CloudFix MCP server that makes AWS EC2 pricing Instance pricing really available via an MCP tool. And the kind of questions that we were able to ask of the system and the kind of answers we were able to get shortened our decision making from days down to a few minutes or seconds. And the depth of information that we're getting out of the system, just collecting all the stuff that's in AWS documentation and the pricing pages, bring it all under one thing to answer your specific question was really powerful and remarkable.
Oh yeah, and I think also outside from the realm of like MCP, but even more in general, like the way that the way that I am approaching my job is changed radically. As you were saying, sometimes solutions architects are required to help customers like sizing the cost of what this architecture is going to look like, and I'm able to do so much more now. I'm able to like build demos for them. It's like having a team of I would say not even more junior developers that are actually helping me out in building that POC really quickly, or at least like communicating the value in a very easier way that I couldn't really expect. I joined AWS in 2019, and if somebody told me that my job would have changed radically over the course of 4 years because of this kind of advancement into technology, I would have been like a little bit skeptical. Just like I'm skeptical right now, as I can hear people saying, "Oh, in 18 months, all of the code is going to be written by AI." I'm still not 100% convinced by that, but I'd be super happy to be or like to stand corrected. That'd be fantastic. I think this would that mean that I don't know, all of us, every one of us is going to become a product manager or something like that. That'd be an interesting development.
Yeah. No, I think we have to take predictions with a pinch of salt because no one really knows.
Mm-hmm.
And no one is qualified at this point to be an expert on the topic because folks have either been working on this for 30 plus years and didn't predict this, or there have been folks who started working on this like yesterday and are making predictions as well. So you've got all ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
But jumping back to some of the specific stuff, um, tell us a little bit about the AWS ecosystem around the MCP tools, agentic frameworks, and stuff like that. How are you seeing startups adopt these, and which are the services that are front and center for them?
Yeah, so for sure, Amazon Bedrock. We have
Mhm.
the Amazon Bedrock agents who are now supporting natively MCP. So that would probably be my first step. And then, I see Stephen has brought up these articles. So I wrote this article, March 19th, and actually from that day, like things have changed radically as well. So we have announced a different advancements, especially in Amazon Bedrock agents. So that's one of the things that I would start looking at if you are playing with agents right now. You want to plug in your MCP service. If you want to dive a little bit deeper into how to actually build your first MCP client and your MCP server. I think the article that I wrote with Kevin and Jamila, this one is potentially gives you an overview on how to do it. So where I see Bedrock agents as like a managed service for your agents, and you kind of forget about the infrastructure that is needed to run your agents. I think if you want to learn the basics of it, I think this article is still kind of sort of relevant.
Mhm.
And as of today, I don't know when we are going to release this, and if it's going to be still relevant. But the idea is that in this article you can see what are the steps to integrate MCP with Amazon Bedrock. So using Amazon Bedrock fundamentally is your LLM provider or your
Mhm.
LLM gateway. And in this particular article, we have written a few tools to help me and other solutions architects to actually speed up their content development lifecycle. So I write a lot of blog posts. I wrote a lot of code samples and workshops. So there are some tasks that I need to do to make sure that the quality of my article is at bar, but I really hate doing it. So, like, for example, I hate scanning through through my blog post to check if all of the names of the services that I'm using in my article are the actual name. And I to this day I don't know if I need to say AWS Bedrock or Amazon Bedrock or like Amazon Lambda, or I don't know. Please don't ask me, like, try it and like in Google. But when you write this sort of things, you would actually have to do it. So we are writing like a suite of internal tools to actually deal with that. And in this blog post, we were actually writing some tools to do automatic summarization or validation of links, and we had some tools to actually download the body of some articles just to do the validation of it. And this is where I had that aha moment in which I had in my MCP server, I had a tool to do the download of some HTML and convert it to Markdown. And then I had another tool to validate my links. And when I say validate my links, I'm saying, you click on the link and it actually gives you a 200 response, right? And so at a certain point, I wrote, hey, can you check all of the links in this particular URL? And at that moment, the LLM was like, okay, I need to go and get all of this, all of the content, and then I'm doing this. And that was the moment when I went, oh, okay, I get this. I don't know if it's like an emerging property or if it's by design, but that was the minute when I was completely sold. So the main challenges that this article actually talks about are, fundamentally doing some data massaging around the format in which you have to express a tool request to Amazon Bedrock, and then actually managing the let me say the chat lifecycle. I think if you scroll down, there are a couple of diagrams. As an architect, I love drawing diagrams. So, but
you're saying managing the history and it wants to call a tool, so dealing with that kind of thing.
Exactly. So there's like one external cycle that is managing the interaction with the user, and then there is one inner cycle or loop that is actually understanding the type of responses that you're getting from the LLM and from the MCP server, and then dispatching the right responses to the right stakeholders. So that's those are like the main two challenges. It's not rocket science, but when this stuff is so new, you have to take some time to maybe digest the protocol. You have to take some time to digest what the interaction looks like, because even if we are inheriting a lot of paradigms and inheriting a lot of experience from like technologies that we've seen before, it still helps to have like a guide or like somebody who takes some of the pain away and takes you through it. So like this was like my kind of goal with this. And I had a lot of customers fundamentally asking for my opinion about how to run MCP with Bedrock. And once you start doing some research, at a certain point you realize potentially I should invest some time into putting together all of my results. And this is what we do at the within the AWS startup team here in the UK. So if you're curious about how to build an MCP server from scratch and integrate it with Bedrock, I would recommend this. I mean, I wrote it, but but yeah. And also, if you scroll all the way down, we have some comments. You can leave comments, so that's where I stay in touch also with some of my customers, and there are a lot of really interesting insights into this. I I try to reply to all of them. We've been really busy with the AWS London Summit, so now I'm trying to keep up.
Oh, this is fantastic. I think so. Every week we try and take AWS blog posts and articles, and we rate them. We rate them in terms of uh, number of clouds. We give them a rating of 0 to 5, and I think this comes very close to a 5 for a simple
Oh,
reason
thank
that
you
it's
so much.
simple. It's easy for folks to follow through step by step. There are code examples. There are videos for them to kind of make sure that they are following the steps and everything is is easily understood. The language used is relatively simple and easy, accessible, very detail oriented, and most importantly, it allows someone to get started, to get something done. Right,
Yep.
that's the biggest hurdle when folks are
Wow.
just starting off. So yeah, we will do this live with the author and give it a 5 star. You guys should really check this out. Uh,
And
and
check this out here. This one's cool. There's a comment here, which I was thinking about. When you wrote this 2 months ago, it was SSE, and now
yes,
SSE isn't anymore. It's Streamable HTTP. And so by keeping that
yes,
updated, staying in touch, that's really, really useful. Because
Yay.
right.
you jump out of this world for a month, and all of a sudden it's all changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks. That was the highlight of my, I think, last month or something like that. That's really, really cool. I'll tell
That's
Kevin
awesome.
and Jamila.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. Like we look for content like this from AWS in general, historically, and that's changed drastically over the last year or so. But historically, AWS has been very reluctant to have an opinionated view of things. It's generally historically it's been, we build all the tools, you pick whatever is best for you. But I love this new opinionated approach where you say, here is a prescription. Here is how you should try this out. It'll get you started. And then you can make up your mind. Once you're familiar with the space, then you can make up your mind about what are the things you might want to add on or what you might want to shed as you're building up your custom solution. But having a lot of these very prescriptive getting started guides on all the different services is incredibly valuable, particularly in the area of AI. Everything is changing so drastically, so quickly. Just keeping up with everything and just going to one place and being able to get started is of, I think, paramount importance. And this just enables that to happen very, very quickly. So thank you for putting this together. I
No,
think this is really valuable.
absolutely. Thank you for again for highlighting that. And yeah, the team, Jamila and Kevin, like we work really closely to actually
Mhm.
to get this out. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we do, and you say like the prescriptive approach, it actually comes out of I would say customer obsession, because we learn these things because customers are asking us questions, because customers
Mhm.
are as I was saying, like they're our the harshest teachers. They are they ask us questions sometimes. We were even distracted looking somewhere else, so this gives us like the chance to be refocused on them. So yeah, again, if there's somebody to be thankful to, these are all of our customers.
No, that is absolutely fantastic. Um, at the beginning of this, when we were just talking kind of impromptu before we started this session, you were showing us about something about your demo with PartyRock, and I hadn't revisited PartyRock in a while, so I think you might be the best place to tell us what's happening with PartyRock and walk us through your demo and your exercises that you do at these hackathons. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I've been playing with PartyRock a lot because I do a lot of hackathons. I go, with in the universities, because we're working closely with universities, because likely there will be founders of the future there, and so we have a program to actually do hackathons there. And one of the tools that we use most of the time is actually PartyRock, because it's a great gentle introduction to what you can do generative AI, and actually I have some examples from one of the latest hackathons that we did here in London with the students from the Imperial College. Actually, I can bring it up if you want. I think this
that'd be great.
this kind of like blew my mind. So one of the students came up with this simple party rock application, but it was so good. I wanted to give him like the first prize, but the first prize was won by somebody else. But it won my heart, which is what really matters. So he built this application to analyze a movie script and to test it against a number of different synthetic audiences.
Okay.
So in this application, you upload like a I don't know. This was the B movie script, and then it would provide you with the emotional analysis, the demographic analysis, its commercial viability, dialogue analysis, and this was also behind the scenes generating the personas that would going to analyze the script, and then after that, it would, for example, generate some images, some track suggestions, but also I think at the end of it, it was generating. I don't know, where is it now? Okay, yeah. So it's generating some code to actually display the results. So I thought this was like a really interesting use case, and again, this is coming from just an hour or so of like prompt engineering it together, or even some vibe coding, something like that. So I was kind of blown away. There are other applications that I used to actually run demos, or like explain how PartyRock actually works. So it has some features that are embodied as widgets. So you have the widget, for example, to upload some file, and this kind of simulates, or like introduces you to the context of retrieval augmented generation. Right. So so you can upload many files here. Well, until up to 800,000 characters. But that's enough to get you started, right? And then some widgets allow you to write, in this case, like the ingredients you have in your fridge, and then you have like the recipes with the ingredients that you have, and you get an image of your meal generated, right? So this is kind of how PartyRock works, but I really wish there was a way for my customers, when they come to the hackathon, to go home with like an agent built out of this PartyRock application. So what best to do if getting your hands dirty and like mixing up technology that you don't really know that well and like other like use cases that you just learned and spend your sunny weekends curved onto your keyboard and actually asking Amazon Q CLI to actually help you code this out. So I kind of started thinking about it would be cool if there was a way to just grab the JSON definition of a PartyRock application and then have it bundled into some kind of agent. And the quickest kind of idea that I had was like, I could build an HTTP client where robots could send, hey, these are all of the values that you need to fill into this PartyRock application, and then here are all of the responses that you get back, or like some sort of like control loop where I'm throwing at you values, and then you're either telling me, oh, you're missing this value, then I'm gonna give it you back, and then until the computation is complete. And the reason I wanted to do this is because maybe I want to run a PartyRock application that I've created at scale. So I just want to say, hey, here's my PartyRock application. Now go and deploy it as on a Fargate task, and all of this will be running. So, but the main ingredient that I was still missing was actually I would say something that could replicate the behavior of all of the widgets that you've seen, so that when I have, I'll actually show you this. So if you go on edit and this is sort of like a hidden command in PartyRock, but if you hit Command and key, you get you get the definition of your application, so you can save it in you can git version it and something like that. But what I would really love to do is just like grab this definition and have an agent deployed onto my AWS account. So this is where I started thinking. And by the way, I don't have it ready, so don't expect a fully fledged demo of this, because I love building stuff in public. But this is where I'm actually learning about, what kind of best practices I can adopt from my past as a software engineer, like what I'm actually learning about. So I think that with this architecture here that you see here, there's still a lot of like separation of concerns that you can build in. There's still a lot of like what we learned from like hexagonal architecture, so we can use adapters to match the various tools through services into like adapters that are making use of the right technology. So based on the incarnation of the application that you actually want. So for example, in my design, I have a few incarnation of this service. I have like a local standard IO MCP server that can communicate with like the likes of Amazon Q onto your machine, or I would say if you want to deploy this server into like a multi-tenant fashion where you have a lot of distributed client that can speak to a centralized MCP server, you can also do that. So these are like the two different incarnations, but there is I would say a minimal difference between these two servers. They are like two different instances, but if you are able to like package your the definition of your tools in a way that satisfies the hexagonal architecture, or you're building like a service oriented architecture, the development speed or like the undifferentiated heavy lifting around your development is minimized. So for example, I've decided, alongside with Amazon Q developer, I've decided to kind of design this as a service oriented architecture with a few adapters, so that my tools here within my tool registry, the tools that are mapping the widgets that we have in the PartyRock application, are they don't really know what kind of tools, what kind of technologies they're using behind the scenes, because they're making use of services, and the services in turn are using adapters for the various technologies where the service is actually going to run. So if it's run locally, then I have local adapters that are achieving the goals that these services have, maybe using the local file system or SQLite if they're running like containerized on your machine, or you can still have cloud adapters that are actually making use of the AWS services. So you are going to have, your LLM gateway in this instance is going to be Bedrock. Maybe locally your LLM gateway is still going to be Bedrock, or maybe you have like something local, like an LLM that you're running on your local machine, and so forth for all of the other domains and all of the other components. So I think that a lot still applies from well architected and from the hexagonal architecture, but it is something that somehow I need to rewire in my brain. And also, like at the beginning I thought, oh, why don't I try to create a, like from this, where is that? I think I lost it somewhere. Anyway, it doesn't matter. From the definition of a PartyRock application, why don't I come up with the direct acyclic graph, and then I map that direct acyclic graph too. And then at the moment, at a certain point, it was like, this is not really required, or like maybe I can try and see if this may be like simplified with just like adopting the MCP kind of architecture, because the LLM should be able to go through I think it's here, go through this and understand, okay, so you see in here we have some prompts, and within these prompts we have a few variables, and if I don't have these variables available to me, then it means that I need to like invoke a tool, or it means that I need to ask the user for more context. And I think that this is something that changed into my approach to building software now. So I think I'm going to try this route first. I had developed the I would say the muscle memory for like, instead of thinking of deploying something onto an EC2 instance, I've tried, what about like I make it available on Lambda? I think I added this on top of it, and like, I think the vast majority of the software that I'm going to write is going to be MCP server first, and I'll see if I can make it work with a client, an MCP client approach first.
Got it.
Well, okay, so just to zoom out, so you're saying you can take this definition of a PartyRock app, and you can say, okay, well, based on my understanding of the PartyRock widgets, you could say, here's all the things it needs to do, and you can reconstruct that on, say, okay, if it needs a file upload, okay, that's S3. And if it needs to save something, okay, I can do that locally, either by SQLite or some other way. If you're on the cloud, you could save it to Dynamo. Okay. Well, okay, so you're basically like reconstructing the PartyRock app, but with an AWS, completely like AWS native, or not the PartyRock isn't, but just on a more primitive services.
No, it's something like, you get to a hackathon, and okay, now I have this PartyRock application. That's great, but like, how can I use it programmatically? Is it possible to use it programmatically? And this is what I'm trying to do, because I would like my students, and I would like the customers that come to us and say, hey, actually, I want this now deployed to my AWS account, and I want my existing systems or like my existing chatbots to actually be able to use this PartyRock application as an agent. And so I thought, yeah, why not spend a sunny weekend into like trying to code this together. And I may attempt to give you like a demonstration of how the MCP server actually looks like, or like how we interact with it.
Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah, praying to the demo gods. I think I stringed it together like yesterday. So if you don't know it, this is MCP Inspector. This is, I think, one of the most valuable tools that you can have when you're like building and deploying, and debugging your MCP servers. Let's see if the connection works. So currently, my my PartyRock MCP server is actually running on my machine at localhost port 3000. Let's have a look. So connected just fine. And as you may know, one of the functionalities that the MCP protocol requires you is to be able to actually list the tools that you have in your inventory. So there you go. Here's a list of tools. And in this case, I'm mapping a tool one-on-one with the PartyRock widget. Is it the right thing to do? I'm not 100% sure. And also, by the way, I kind of realized that potentially my AWS credentials have expired while we were talking about this. So it's likely that we will, I will have to fiddle to get some valid AWS credentials. So, for example, in this case, this is a tool that maps an input, a text input. So what I will do here, I don't know if you can read it. This is a widget title. So I'm going to pretend that I have a PartyRock application that will allow you to write a poem in the style of your favorite author. So we have two widgets here. The first widget is you want the name of an author, and the second widget is you want a topic to write the poem about. Okay, so we'll start with the author, and one of my favorite authors is Philip Larkin. Larkin with it like that. Run the tool, and so the tool replied to me, "Hey, actually, I stored Philip Larkin as the author. Let's simulate the other widget, which is the topic. And I want Philip Larkin to write poems about, I don't know, tomatoes, because it's almost dinner time here in the UK. Right, so we saw that, and now I think this is going to fail, but bear with me. I will try to readjust this. So, so the widget title, this is going to be my poem, and the prompt is write a poem in the style of here we will have author and about topic. Okay, so in here I would have to say what the Bedrock model is. I'm going to quickly pick it up from my list. I think we're going to use Amazon Nova Pro, and again, likely going to fail.
Let's try it out.
Yeah, let's try it out. Here I can here I can say what the temperature is going to be. Let's limit ourselves to the tokens. I mean, we can debug this in real time as well. So this is already not a good sign.
You definitely want this to be poetic. With the
there you go. No, it actually worked. So I think, oh damn, I didn't expect this. There you go.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Oh yeah. So let's see if it talks about tomatoes. Yeah, it talks about tomatoes. I think that this is kind of the style of Philip Larkin. By the way, my favorite poem from Philip Larkin is High Windows, a collection of poems. If you haven't read it, what are you doing? And yeah, so what am I actually doing here? Like going through and having a look at JSON documents with you folks. So I would say that this is the first, like the initial building block that will allow me to create like this MCP client in which my customers are just going to copy paste this PartyRock application, and then they will be able to like chat with the chatbot about or like execute the application through a chat interface or an HTTP interface. I'm more interested in an HTTP interface because then it means that I can create an agent blueprint on PartyRock, export it to my AWS account, and then send HTTP requests at scale to, I don't know, generate content, for example.
This is a really clever idea.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have thought about using tools in that way. That's a really clever idea. Basically, having the tools can kind of emulate the interface of PartyRock in that you're setting the state of these discrete items.
Yeah, and as you can see here, I'm using the list widget for now to just say, oh, this is how my PartyRock application is actually built. So I know that there is an input text, and I know that the value, has been fulfilled because I've entered it. Then I have my topic, and then I have the poem. So like if you were to translate this back to a PartyRock application, you would have like a text input a text input for the author, a text input for the topic, and then a generated text for the actual poem. So I think it's will this accomplish any business value? Like, will it create any business value? Probably not. But I think it was a cool thing to build, and I built it in like potentially a few hours over a weekend, and now hopefully with another weekend invested, my customers will be able to deploy an agent out of their hackathon. So I'm really happy about that.
That's pretty cool. That's a great
really
usage of
awesome.
MCP.
And also, like I learned a ton of stuff because I learned how to reuse things that I know, technologies that I don't know, and I think that got me a bit further to knowing a bit more about how this technology works.
That's awesome. What's going to be your dream project that you work on?
I think so. One of the things that I would like to do is to create content for vibe coders, because I think that I think that vibe coding is a great way to get introduced to this fantastic world of building businesses, right? So we are transcending from being software engineers to like being product engineers or even business engineers. And so what I would like to do is to create like a bite-sized content for vibe coders and for future founders. That would be something that and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing it, right? Because I want to like create a repository of evergreen content that I can then just share or even make available even within IDEs. For example, it'd be cool for say for example for Amazon Q to actually showcase the basic like the computer science basics or like the machine learning basics or the software engineering basics contextually when you're building something. So that would be something that I would really like to work on for the next I don't know, couple of months. And having like this sort of a repository of evergreen content, potentially automated, because I cannot, stand on a camera and like record all of this all the time. So I think that's where the kind of area in which you'll see me working for the next couple of months.
That's awesome. We'd love to kind of contribute and work with you on some of these hackathons. I think it sounds like a really, really interesting exercise, and yeah, we'd love to see where this goes. Thank you so much, Giuseppe, for coming over and spending time with us talking through all of this. I want to reiterate for the audience, you should go check out startups at startups.aws.amazon.com for all the amazing content and insights and support that you can get on getting started on your business idea. I don't think there's a better time and a better technology stack to build out the next big idea,
Absolutely.
the next big company with. I don't think we've ever been in a phase with lower friction than now. So there's almost no reason not to start doing this. So yeah, check it out. And Giuseppe, thank you so much for all these insights and all the help.
Thank
We
you,
need
folks,
to
for
get you
having me.
back. We need to get you back to do a live session, a live hackathon kind of thing with the audience as well.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really great talking to you. Yeah, I think we have a lot more to talk about. So hopefully we'll have you back. This was really fun. Definitely want to talk about more about MCP ecosystems on part 2. So
Sounds
yeah,
good.
thank you
Absolutely.
again. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, folks. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, everyone.